Hello, Darren.
Hi, Darren. New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Whoa.
I wonder where I am. If you see what I mean.
I got booked for a Millennium gig in Scarborough. That's 1999. And the musicians got 400 quid each, which was very tasty. Yeah, very tasty back then as well. And the venue didn't sell enough tickets, so they cancelled. Brilliantly, the keyboard player who booked it insisted on getting a contract, and so we still got paid the full amount.
Is that your favourite New Year's Eve ever? Did you just then stay in?
Me and the guitarist went to Scarborough anyway to meet up with the rest of the band, and we just went out.
Let's do the show right here.
Yeah.
I've DJ'd. Maybe I've even DJ'd twice on New Year's Eve.
Right.
Do
you enjoy it?
I really did, actually. There's something, I don't know, there's something about New Year's Eve where I'm not sure if there's almost like a, I don't know, there's a lot psychologically going on New Year's Eve, isn't there? You sort of both want to go out and you don't, and then FOMO comes into it. And there's all sorts of issues. When you're actually being paid to entertain, I enjoy it very much. I very much enjoy trying to help people have a good time and facilitate that. And I actually really enjoy DJing, as long as it's the right sort of place, club. I remember this was an indie club, and actually this reminds me of another story that I often tell. Okay, right, I'm going to tell two stories now. This club is the excellent How Does It Feel club.
Okay. That'll be named after the song by The Clique, not The Clique, The Creation, I imagine.
Yeah. And that's its kind of remit, indie or 60s girl groups, Motown. But yeah, it actually has another club which is also really great called Great Big Kiss, which is possibly a bit more up your street, a bit more like Northern Soul and that kind of thing. And I remember playing, and it was getting close to New Year's Eve, and I had dropped Biology by Girls Aloud.
Okay.
I was just telling someone earlier today how Girls Aloud are much better than Joy Division. I don't know why those two groups were thrown into any kind of contest together. It seems unfair on both sides, really. I mean, they never really asked to be in a battle with each other, did they? But for some reason, a conversation led them to be. And then I played, I think I played Coming Up by Wings. And I think actually now, Coming Up by Wings, I think would be considered to be much more club friendly. But I feel like it wasn't then. I felt like, and every now and then,
you're going to get Anoraks putting something out, Darren. So I'm going to do it. It's just Paul McCartney coming up.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
And just occasionally, Ian would give me a look to say, that isn't really what this club does. I remember the one time he really told me off was when I played Little Devil by the Cult. He said, no. You've broken.
Were people dancing?
Well, this was the point of my Girls Aloud story. He sort of looked at me, and then I pointed to the dance floor, which was round.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I got away with that one. I think his disquiet at me playing the Colt was much more heartfelt, however, and I don't think I'll get away with that again. It's okay, you know. I mean, part of doing a club is you want to curate it, and you want DJs who I'm not actually saying this to say his staff for saying that. I mean, what's the point in a club if you haven't got some kind of manifesto, and if you don't stick to that manifesto? This makes me think of DJ stories now. I'm gonna tell you my free DJ stories. Have we got time for my free DJ stories?
Depends how long you're going to spend drawing.
I was once DJing at 100 Club, and somebody who was foreign, I think they were German, came up to me and said, "Can you play something by the Doors?" And I said, not only will I not play anything by the Doors, I bet you can't find a single club in London that will play something by the Doors. I'm thinking of lots of DJ stories. I was DJing in Walthamstow once, and somebody came up and asked for the Beastie Boys whilst I was playing the Beastie Boys.
Yes.
He said, "Can you play the Beastie Boys?" I said, "This is the Beastie Boys." He went, "Oh, right. That must be why I'm thinking of them."
Love that.
It's fun DJing. I mean, these stories aren't really meant to be taking a piss out of anyone, really. Everyone's drunk. Everyone's having a good time. It's perfectly okay. And then me and Ian started to have this idea about whether we could do ska nights.
Yeah.
Because I kept wanging on about ska on Twitter and stuff. And we thought, is there enough crossover? You know, especially with, if you think about like the Morrissey thing of him saying reggae is vile. Is there enough crossover to do a sort of ska reggae night at an indie club?
Right.
I was particularly thinking about all of those kind of Beatles reggae crossovers and things like that, which would make it easier. I was playing the original of Tide is High, things like that. Would
Soul Jazz put a really good disco covers reggae album out.
Yeah.
A lot of good covers. Yeah.
And then also the most popular reggae that everyone would know, you know. And could you from that do an hour? The idea is that I would do about an hour and a half of sort of indie kid friendly reggae and ska. And we did it a couple of times. And it was really great. I really had a great time. And I think the first one I got there quite early. And just to start off, I was playing like bits of lovers rock and stuff. It was okay. I was just setting the mood.
Yeah.
And there was this lad there, and he wasn't an indie kid. He was a mod. He had his Fred Perry.
Yeah.
He had the right haircut. And I thought, he's sort of somehow heard about this night, perhaps in the listings or something. But he's not your normal. Yeah. And I would drop something like, you know, Night Nurse or something like that, or a dub thing. And he was doing that kind of, you know, that kind of sort of slightly chickeny head thing that mods do, that sort of slightly
he's
macho.
Appreciating it.
Yeah. And he was telling me as well. You know, he was signaling to me, giving a little nod of approval. And I realized after a while that I was kind of DJing for this one guy. And he'd alphaed me, and I was the beta male. And I didn't really care about anyone else. I just wanted to please this guy because he knew his ska, he knew his reggae, and I wanted to impress him.
Yeah, yeah.
But my big finish had been planned all along, which was Musical Youth, Pass the Dutchie.
Okay.
Uptown Rankin by Althea and Donna.
Right, yeah.
And Red Red Wine by UB40.
Right.
Banger, banger, banger. And I could tell he was a little bit restless when Althea and Donna came on. I could tell he was even more restless.
Too mainstream.
And then I played Red Red Wine, and everyone was dancing and singing. And he came up to me. He came up to me and leaned over the DJ booth, and he went into my ear. Play the game, mate. Play the game.
I must be honest. After what you were saying you were playing, you were certainly those three choices. Though I agree, are all decent. Seems to be slightly a step away from the rest of your stuff that you were playing.
Well, like I say, when I was there at the beginning, there was no one there, so you get a free reign, and then what you're trying to do. It was an hour and a half running up to midnight, so you're sort of gradually trying to tease them into it, with a bit of Desmond Decker and this.
Yeah.
Because the brief was, you are not playing to an audience that necessarily knows this music.
Right. But
anyway, I went home and I had a long talk with myself. And on the 1,000,000 to 1 chance that guy ever listens to this podcast, I'm sorry I let you down.
At least he enjoyed the rest of it, and he looked really good.
Oh, that's a great drawing you're doing. Can you tell me and the viewers what is it? Play-Doh?
It is Play-Doh. Yeah.
Play-Doh. Did you have Play-Doh?
I did. We had this. I can't remember if it was mine or my sister's, or it was just sometimes, when you got sisters and that, toys kind of belong to both of you. And this was one that could have been really belonged to either of us. And it was so it was over here, it was the Play-Doh Barber Shop. Sure, that's what it was called. So I Googled that. And I found the photos of the American version, which was still exactly the same toy, but it had a different name. Do you want to know what the American version was called?
Play-Doh Hair Crazy.
No, you will never, ever, ever guess it.
Well, in that case, I shall stop guessing and ask you to tell me.
It was called the Fuzzy Pumper.
Spell Pumper?
The Fuzzy Pumper.
Spell Pumper.
Fuzzy.
Huh?
Is this a northern accent thing?
Pomper.
Fuzzy.
The second word.
Pumper.
What's the second word?
Pumper, as in pumping.
Pumper. Yes, it is. It's the language interface problem.
That's right. I can't do an Essex accent. But yes, the
I think by Essex accent you mean the Queen's English. Oh, the King's English.
Yeah, King's English. Or is it still the Queen's? Who knows? So yeah, I can do the letters now. The Fuzzy Pumper, and obviously I had to draw that with a name like that.
So
and for any of American fans who don't get why I find it particularly funny, is because over here in the UK, to pump is to break wind. So one who breaks wind is a pumper.
There's also a slightly secondary sexual connotation, isn't there, of pumping?
There is a little bit as well.
Or is that my brain?
No, there's that as well. Yeah.
Right, so my drawing
I know what you've drawn.
Oh, okay. Tell me.
It's one of those mazes where you got to move the ball around the maze without it going in the holes.
Yeah. So there were a certain few toy crazes when we were young, and some of them you can quite happily talk to anyone around our age because they swept the country. So I would say the Rubik's Cube it didn't just sweep the country, it swept the world, didn't it?
Yeah.
And there were some other ones I remember. And one was the trick stick.
What's that?
Do you remember? See, I think a couple of these were really, really local to me. This thing called trick stick, a stick on a string. And I bring these things up because...
Was it like a magic wand?
It was like a wand on a stick, and you could spin it around yourself. But the little string was so thin you could barely see it. So it gave you it gave the appearance it was floating. Yeah. And then also at my school, the Master Maze. This was called Master Maze.
Okay.
There were some copycat companies, but the Master Maze. And this is the 100 edition, which I had. And when I was drawing this, I can actually kind of remember the route. I'm actually following the maze, and my memory can actually remember the way. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Then it went here. Then there was a hole there. But this really went nuts at my school.
Right.
Like, we were all begging our parents for a Master Maze, and there was one shop in the high street, and he must have thought, what the F's going on? And he would just order as many he could. This was the 100-hole one. There was a 250-hole one, and there was a 500 one.
Whoa.
And it was bizarre. So this thing is housed in a picture frame, say A4 size.
Yeah.
And we would just walk to school with them in front of us. We'd sit in the playground with just rolling these balls around these things. Absolutely catatonic with delirium. None of this. And I've sort of talked to other people, so I'm quite pleased. Well, I don't know if I'm pleased or not. I'm interested in the fact that you recognised it.
Yeah.
Because I have had tried to have a conversation about the Master Maze several times in adulthood, and have just been looked at with a blank stare.
Well, the name I don't recognise.
And do you recognise the story? Like, do you remember it as a mania that was swept your school?
I don't remember it as a mania as such, but they were always around. But I never saw them at school. I think they were more at home in friends' homes.
So I guess what I'm saying is
very much a thing.
I'm drawing it to sort of find out whether this phenomenon was just local to me or whether it was a craze that swept the nation. And I suppose what I'm talking about specifically that, we would bring them into school and teachers had to start confiscating them because we'd be doing them under the desk and all that sort of stuff. That's specifically what I'm interested in. Does anyone else have that memory?
Yeah, that bit didn't happen with me, but the toys were definitely part of my childhood.
Yeah,
I'd like to play one now.
I don't know. I mean, I remember it having a sort of slightly maddening, addictive quality.
Yeah.
And there was a few things like that had that real fever-like addiction on me as a kid. Way of the Exploding Fist, previously discussed. I would wake up in the middle of the night dreaming Way of the Exploding Fist and
doing the roundhouse.
Couldn't sleep. Yeah, and so basically going into adulthood, I have an absolute fear of addiction to lots of things, really. I think I've got a very addictive. So I've never had a NES or anything like that. And so even looking at this and thinking, would I like one again? I don't know. I think I'd be scared to have it.
Right. You never get any drawings done.
Yeah, exactly. There was kind of 1 year where an album was about 6 or 7 months late because I started playing chess online, and I just didn't write any songs for about 6 months.
Do you think paintings replaced that for you?
Has painting replaced music?
No, the like painting your gaming addiction substitutes.
Yeah, I do. I think painting and music have both done that. I think I am incredibly addictive to many things. There are some things I'm addicted to that I shouldn't be. I absolutely think like someone who would lose their life to gambling or computer games, that I'm totally that sort of person. Yeah, I was lucky enough to find writing songs and drawing and to be able to make money out of it. And still I find like I'll write another song or paint another picture rather than do my accounts for writing songs or do the admin of drawing pictures. So my life is quite often in chaos. And people who order things from me will know about that chaos. I mean, I always come good in the end. Usually what happens is you order something from me, it comes late, but I stick 3 other things in it because I've mucked it up in some way. I'm really grateful for finding these things. I'm sort of quite terrified by what I would be if I hadn't have found music and art.
Yeah, they're healthy addictions, aren't they?
They are healthy addictions. I would say that some of the things that happen in other unhealthy addictions, it isn't impossible for them to happen inside art. I find sometimes if I'm really sucked into a picture, I can forget to eat.
Yeah.
I can get obsessed and not go to bed, and there are occasionally unhealthy elements to it.
Yeah.
And I think actually, the online drawing club through lockdown, which was the catalyst for us doing this YouTube channel, was really good in sort of getting you away from that. So you had sort of this thing where you're drawing and you're doing this very insular private thing, which you could get quite obsessed by, but you're doing it with your friends around you and talking to them. I think we all 7 or 8 of us in that drawing club have sort of talked about how unique and special it was to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Just drawing this, I can smell the Play-Doh. Like Proustian. That's an overused word.
I'm tempted to show you the room behind me. I've laid it out and it looks like I'm about to have a 70s party. I have a little table with some mince pies I have a Hornsey jug of water, and I have chairs all round the outside of the room. Because 2 nights ago, at the annual general meeting for the estate that I live on, I was voted onto the board of directors. I am now a house representative and a director of the estate. And we are having our first directors meeting, and I decided to host it at my flat.
Oh, it's tonight.
It's tonight, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And
how exciting.
It is. In fact, actually, in contrast to what we're talking about, Play-Doh and master mazes, it probably ranks with one of the most adult steps I've ever taken. I mean, on the board, they're talking about, putting things out for tender and comparing different rates and building insurance and housing law, of which I know nothing.
No.
But of course, you need a wide range of skills on a board, I think. And at one of these meetings, they're going to ask, "Can anyone draw a picture of a master maze?" And that's going to be my moment.
Well, if anyone's looking for a fuzzy pumper, you know where to send them.
I can put the fuzzy pumper out for tender. I have a man in Bolton.
I think I'm going to put this on a t-shirt. Put it in my new shop.
Yeah, I think so too.
I will plug in a future video, but not now.
Well, I mean, I also think I am going to do it too. I think I don't care whether you think I'm copying your idea. I am copying your idea. I'm going to copy your idea. I'm going to put t-shirts in my shop. I think
as long as they're not, Stephen Mulhern from Catchphrase and Matt Morris from TVAM.
Listen. I think we should do one that's the same. I think we should think of something and do almost exactly the same composition, but I draw it and you draw it. And we could do some kind of deal for people who want to buy both.
Hey, well, if anyone's watching, tell us what we should draw. Let's see. Jolly good. Well, it's Christmas, New Year's Eve.
And please, could you talk to us? We don't often do the YouTube thing of tell us in the comments, but in this case, can people tell me whether the Master Maze phenomenon was local to Essex or whether it was in other parts of the country? And don't forget to click like and subscribe.
Brilliant. Well, it's New Year's Eve, so I'm off to going to put my glad rags on and get down to Ritz's for an all-night Drifters disco.
I genuinely don't know where I am. Okay, then bye, Darren.
Bye, Darren.